The bosses of universities are paid over $1 million, and ones in Queensland are paid about $1.2 million. To give you an idea, the Prime Minister of the country, with all the multifaceted responsibilities there, is about $500,000. So, John, again, we've created an economy here that rewards the institutions that are deliberately undermining what is a very successful way that the world has worked for many a generation, and certainly the post-World War II era.
Well, I think that's actually right. We have lost touch with reality. It's been too easy for too long for too many people. Perspective has been lost. Materialism has run rife. Values have been weakened. And what you've now got, lies at the heart of the breakdown of trust and of the polarisation and division in our society. And I don't want to go overboard and say young people, this is the whole point, isn't it? Grievance debates, you're victims. But I do want to say that I can understand why young people don't feel very invested in the system when I left school in the mid-70s. I'm probably older than you, Paul. You certainly look, younger and fresher than I do.
God love you. God will love
average
you.
Australian home.
We have the same cholesterol count. Don't worry. What I lack in years, I certainly make up for in lung performance.
But when I left school, I think an average family home in Australia cost 4 times average annual earnings. It's now 11 or 12 times, even more in Sydney and Melbourne. The pay rates that some people are on they just fuel the feeling of division and of being left behind, of injustice, that I think is really deeply troubling. I'm sorry, I really do.
No, well, again, Erin, to this point where 10 million people are going to get a tax increase of $1,500 at this upcoming budget. Now, it is a hangover of an automatic payment that was there during the pandemic. But when everything costs more than it did 12 months ago, the government can let us keep $1,500 of our money. And when times get better, maybe you can have that conversation down the road. This affects everyone under 120 grand. But what about a distance between people earning 120 grand and the people running universities at 1.2 million?
Yeah, it is ridiculous, isn't it? And you look at those taxes, you look at the rental report that came out today, and you look at the actual issues that affect everyday Australians. And I tell you what, you made a great point in your opening remarks when you said, I'm not going to do what the government wants me to do, which is talk about the voice.
Correct.
For the entire hour. I'm sick to death of hearing about it. Breakfast radio, 3 hours a day. All we do is talk to people, and we're giving them, at the moment, we're doing a segment. We're giving people coffee machines. We're giving them milk. We're giving them $30 towards a bill, and they're crying because they are so relieved. They're doing it so tough. And these are average income earners, by the way. Most people who ring in would be around average. These aren't people on support or on payments. So, the issues are much, much greater. And yeah, you look at the salaries of uni people, whatever. I think pay politicians more. That's always been my thing. I get smashed every time I say it. But if you want to see an increase in the calibre of politician, or an increase in the calibre of person that puts himself forward for public office when you're competing with the private sector, and even other elements of the public sector that aren't politicians, public service, for example, then we would see a significant increase if we paid them more. I know they make a lot, but I think we've got to offer more money, and we'll get a much better calibre of people.